You ever wake up at 3 in the morning to the sound of your entire life being smashed to pieces? No, well, let me tell you, it'll put hair on your chest and a permanent chip on your shoulder. That's how this story starts. I shot out of bed, heart pounding, thinking maybe a tornado hit the barn or one of the heifers decided to break into the kitchen again. But no, it wasn't Mother Nature or livestock. It was three folks from the HOA swinging sledgehammers in the moonlight, reducing 6 months of sweat and family memories to a pile of splintered wood and shattered hand-carved horses. My grandfather's turquoise and orange fence, his signature racing colors, smashed right in front of me. And standing dead center in the beam of her headlamp, grinning like she'd just won the lottery, was the HOA president herself. She says, "Your fence violates neighborhood aesthetics." Not even a sorry, not even a how do you do. That was the moment I realized some people in this world mistake quiet country folks for weaklings. And that's their first and last mistake. I'm Wade Thornton, third generation on this land, pregnant wife failing ranch and nothing left to lose. You mess with a man like that, you better be ready for the storm. Now picture this 40 acres that used to be pure Texas ranch country now called Meadowbrook Estates, a place where city folks play cowboy on weekends. That fence those HOA clowns destroyed, I built it by hand one Saturday at a time. Coffee in my mug, Sarah by my side, her hand on our first miracle, baby breathing in hay and diesel and hope. Every post hand-carved with horses, every sign scrubbed and repainted until my knuckles bled. We called it the Rainbow Fence, and even the neighbors loved it at first, little kids counting the horses. Old Pete Wilson's grandson learning his colors, newcomers waving hello. Then the wind changed and Hurricane Vivian blew in, that's what we call her. Dallas real estate shark in high heels, white Mercedes, and a frown that could freeze pond water in August. Vivian Blackwood showed up one hot afternoon, dressed like she was headed to a Supreme Court hearing, shoving a violation notice in my face. Section 4.7, Earth Tone Aesthetics Only. 30 days to repaint. I laughed honestly, ma'am. This ranch has more history than your whole subdivision. But she came prepared. Binder full of legal jargon attitude, thick as Texas barbecue smoke. Compliance is not negotiable. That night I was at the county courthouse, digging through files, searching for the truth, and coming up with gold, her precious covenant missing signatures. Legally worthless. Better yet, turns out half the houses in the neighborhood didn't follow earth tone rules, including Vivian's own forest green shutters. But that wasn't the real story. The real story was the scam. 6 families all hit with HOA violations, all suddenly dealing with foreclosure warnings from a bank owned by Vivian's husband, Marcus. Coincidence? Not on your life. Sarah was folding baby clothes when I told her. Her hand stopped mid-fold. "What kind of scam?" she asked, voice tight. "The kind where they bleed you dry, then buy your home for pennies." That's when I realized we weren't just fighting over a fence, we were fighting for our future. My family survived droughts, market crashes, and the Dust Bowl. We weren't about to let some city lawyer steal our legacy over paint colors. So I hired Buck Hartley, a local attorney with boots, older than some people's mortgages, and we filed harassment charges. Vivian responded with $500 daily fines retroactive to the first complaint, plus threats of liens and lawsuits. Dallas lawyers started dropping paperwork thick enough to choke a horse on our porch. She thought she could outlast me. She had no idea who she was dealing with. Now, Grandpa Joe always said if someone's pushing you this hard, they want something you got. So I drove straight to the county assessor's office. Turns out Vivian had been buying up houses through shell companies every time someone violated HOA rules. She'd scare 'em, fine 'em, squeeze 'em, then buy their property for a song, and Marcus Bank would finance the new buyers. The game was as slick as a greased pig at the county fair and twice as dirty. But betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. That night, my neighbor Jake showed up, looking like a whipped dog, holding a manila envelope, his signature on the original fence complaint. Vivian offered Tommy an internship, full scholarship maybe. If he played along, Jake said, voice cracking. 8 years of friendship gone like dust in a storm. That's when it hit me. This was about power, about money, about pushing people out until there was no one left who remembered the old Meadowbrook. With Buck's help, we built a case property, records, timelines, shell companies. If we can prove conspiracy, Wade, this goes federal, he said, eyes bright. But we needed the public on our side. I started posting everything on our neighborhood Facebook group, violation patterns, maps, fake signatures. Within 24 hours, it blew up, neighbors sharing their stories, painting fences, in protest media knocking on our door. Channel 7 ran a story about the rainbow fence revolution, and by the end of the week, half the neighborhood was violating Vivian's rules on purpose. Purple shutters, rainbow fences, yellow mailboxes. Vivian counterattacked anonymous flyers in every mailbox, calling me selfish, dangerous, a threat to property values. But then she made the biggest mistake of her life. She went on TV and said, "Some people simply don't understand what makes a community desirable." Old Pete Wilson called that night laughing his head off. She just declared war on everyone who's lived here longer than a mortgage payment. But Vivian had deeper pockets and deeper connections. Suddenly, county code enforcement was handing out citations, not just HOA violations, but real fines. Tommy Morrison. Jake's son came to me with proof text messages between Vivian and the county supervisor, targeting colorful properties, pushing for maximum fines, minimum notice, all to make life impossible for folks who didn't fit her vision. And it got ugly. Cattle gate chains, cut irrigation lines, slashed eyesore graffiti, spray painted on our barn. Sarah broke down scared for the baby, scared for me. My truck tires got slashed in broad daylight. That's when the last piece clicked into place. Vivian wasn't just trying to control the HOA, she was building a luxury development called Blackwood Estates, planning to bulldoze our ranch and turn it into a country club entrance. But to do that, she needed the only road in and out Meadowbrook Lane, which, as fate would have it, was still owned by Florence Meadows' daughter of the original developer. With my last dime and Sarah's blessing, we scraped together every penny, bought that road fair and square. Then in one glorious sunrise, I closed it for emergency repairs legally, with county permits official as a judge's gavel. The neighborhood was cut off. Vivian's development plans died overnight. She went berserk, lawsuits, private investigators, smear campaigns labeling me a terrorist because of my Army demolitions background. But our community rallied, old neighbors, new friends, everyone who believed in something bigger than property values. The final showdown. Community center, standing room only, cameras rolling. Vivian pulled every dirty trick, fake witnesses, sob stories, legal threats. But Buck and I had recordings, Marcus offering hush money, Vivian admitting to fraud, Jake breaking down on the stand and telling the truth. When it all came out, Vivian lost it, screaming, confessing, exposing the whole scam in front of God and everybody. Sheriff Martinez slapped the cuffs on her right there. Road reopened. HOA dissolved, development plans dead and buried. 6 months later, you'd barely recognize Meadowbrook. Rainbow fences everywhere, welcome signs painted in every color under the sun. Vivian's in prison. Marcus is banned from banking the land's now a wildlife preserve. Our daughter Emma Rose took her first steps chasing butterflies beside the very fence that started it all. Jake redeemed himself, rebuilding trust one neighbor at a time. The Thornton Foundation now helps families fight back against HOA bullies coast to coast. And me, I gave the road back to the community, set up a trust, so no one can ever use it against us again. We started a fence day tradition, barbecue laughter, kids painting fences however they like. Sometimes the little guy wins. Sometimes a fence isn't just a fence, it's a symbol of freedom. So, what about you? Got a nightmare? HOA story? Drop it in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from and join the fight. Because bullies count on your silence, and sometimes the only thing that stands between tyranny and freedom is a stubborn rancher with nothing left to lose and a community that finally remembers what it's made of. If this fired you up, like, comment, subscribe, and stick around because the next wild HOA story might just be yours.